Okay, so this code review is going to focus on the API portion of the Cinnamon Town movie rental project. I kind of struggled getting through the web API packages and getting the AutoMapper package installed, but after that, we start by making an API folder inside the controllers folder. So it's going to kind of follow that same URL structure. And then we're going to make the movies controller class and make sure it's using the models and DTOs for our project, as well as the AutoMapper package. Now, I'm actually going to take a slight detour and we'll look at the movies DTO. And you can see it's virtually the same as our movies model class, except for the omission of the genre property, because that's actually a class inside C#, and you can't really pass that in a JSON variable or XML. And that's kind of the real difference, and that's why we need this translation layer. So we're also going to take a look at the mapping profile, which uses the models, DTOs, and AutoMapper, just like our controller. But this is where it actually associates movies to DTO and DTO to movies, using the lambdas and associating with the ID and ignoring any optional values or anything that's not required. So now we're going to go back to our actual API route. Now it starts out very similarly to how we have the movies controller set up with the database context. And our first route is the get movies route, which just returns a list of all the movies in the database and maps it out to JSON from the regular class. And then the get movie route takes an integer in the URL and then stores the context result of that integer, like the ID from that movie. And if there's not an ID for that movie, it returns not found. If it is found, it's going to return a status 200, and it's going to convert the movie class to the movie DTO, or the JSON. And then we have our HTTP post route, create movie, and that actually takes a movie DTO in the form of the request body, and it checks if that body is valid, and if not, it returns bad request, or a very actually detailed error message. And then it maps the body to an actual proper class, and then that gets added to the database. The database saves the changes, and then it creates a new URI for that movie and returns that JSON back to the request. Now the put route is where it updates, and it's update movie, and it takes an ID in the URL and a body request, and it's kind of like a combination of both the create movie route and the get movie route, because it does a little bit of both and returns that same status 200, but it doesn't return like a JSON object or anything. And delete, also very simply, just takes an integer in the URL, like the other two. It looks up that movie in the database. If it's not found, returns not found, and then removes it from the context, saves the changes, returns status 200. Ultimately, the value of having an API cannot be overstated. If third-party apps need to use your database, this becomes a universal language. JavaScript has fetch, Python has requests, the command line has curl for HTTP requests, and most programming languages understand JSON. Thanks for watching this code review.